All right, today we're jumping into the absolutely incredible world of Indian handicrafts. We're talking about a universe of artistry that covers, the entire subcontinent. It's just breathtaking. Let's get into it.
This quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures what we're about to explore. Because this isn't just about beautiful objects you can put on a shelf. Nope. This is about culture, it's about history, it's about millions of real, human stories that are literally woven and carved and painted into existence.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the big picture, then dive into textiles, wood and stone, metal, and painting. And we'll wrap up by looking at why this is all, well, so much more than just art.
All right, first up, India's craft panorama. Let's get one thing straight right away. When we say Indian handicrafts, we're not talking about one single thing, not at all. Think of it more like a massive, sprawling collection of totally distinct traditions from every corner of the country. It really is a vast cultural tapestry.
So what exactly is an Indian handicraft then? Well, at its core, it's this amazing blend of a few key things. It's about what's available locally, the resources, whether that's silk or stone or bamboo. And it's about how, over generations, entire communities have poured their history, their beliefs, their whole aesthetic into that material.
Okay, let's get into our first big category, and it's a huge one, the loom's legacy. I mean, Indian textiles are famous the world over, right? And it all begins with this almost magical process of turning shimmering threads into something extraordinary.
And the diversity here is it's insane. I mean, look at this. You've got the super opulent Banarasi silks from Uttar Pradesh woven with actual gold and silver thread. And then you have something totally different like Ikatat, where the genius is that they dye the threads before they even start weaving. That's how they get those incredible, kind of blurry geometric patterns. Each one of these could be its own deep dive, seriously.
But wait, the story of fabric doesn't end at the loom. Not even close. Then comes embroidery, which adds this whole other layer of detail and storytelling. You've got the super colorful floral patterns of Fulkari from Punjab, the incredible metallic threadwork of Zardozi, and then Kanta, which is just amazing. They take old, repurposed fabrics and use a simple running stitch to create these beautiful scenes from daily life. See, these aren't just pretty patterns, they're literally stories stitched in thread.
So, we've talked about soft, flowing textiles. Now let's do a complete 180 and talk about something solid, something carved right from the earth. We're moving into the world of wood and stone.
First, take a look at Kashmir. Here, the artisans work with walnut wood, which is soft enough for them to carve these unbelievably intricate floral patterns. I mean, just look at the level of detail. It's mind-blowing.
And then, bam, you see this. And it just perfectly shows you the incredible range we're talking about. We go from that delicate, soft wood in Kashmir to the monumental, powerful stone carving of Odisha. This is the same craft, the same lineage of skill that built some of India's most ancient, jaw-dropping temples. And our tradition of working with hard, tough stone, it's still alive and well today.
And you find these skills all over the place. Go to Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh, and you'll see some of the most beautifully carved wooden furniture. Head over to Jaipur in Rajasthan, and it's all about marble, gorgeous statues and detailed ornaments.
Okay, from wood and stone, let's move on to something with a bit of a shimmer. It's time to talk about metal. And this is where you see some serious technical skill and amazing artistry in casting, shaping, and decorating.
So, have you ever seen one of those incredible Dokra metal figurines and wondered, how in the world do they make that? Well, this is it. It's this ancient, absolutely genius process called lost wax casting. First, the artist sculpts the entire thing out of wax, every single tiny detail. Then they cover that wax model in clay. They heat the whole thing up, the wax melts and runs out, that's why it's lost, and what's left behind is a perfect mold. They pour in molten metal, break the clay, and there it is. So cool, right? But casting is only part of the story with metal. You also have things like bidriware from Karnataka, this stunning art of inlaying pure silver into a blackened metal alloy. The contrast is just beautiful. Or, how about meenakari from Rajasthan? That's the art of filling jewelry with these super vibrant, colorful enamels. Every single one of these is its own deep, specialized craft.
Okay, so we've been in the 3D world of carving and casting. Now let's shift our focus to storytelling on a surface. We're diving into the world of pottery, terracotta, and painting.
And just look at the contrast here. It's a perfect example of different ways of telling a story. On one side, you've got Madhubani painting from Bihar. It's intricate, it's colorful, filled with mythological stories. Then you look at Worli painting from Maharashtra, and it's this beautiful, elegant, minimalist style. using simple geometric shapes, circles, triangles, squares, to show scenes from tribal life. Two totally different languages, both telling powerful stories.
And this idea of regional diversity, it's just as true for pottery. I mean, you have the famous blue pottery of Jaipur with that unmistakable turquoise glaze. Then there are the iconic terracotta horses from Bangkok in West Bengal, so powerful. And way over in Manipur, you have this unique black pottery that gets its color from natural dyes and a special firing process. Every region, has its own unique voice, its own dialect in clay.
Okay, so we've seen all these amazing crafts, but what does it all mean today? That brings us to our final and honestly most important section, because the key thing to remember is that these are not museum pieces. They're not relics of a bygone era. This is a living, breathing tradition, and for millions of people, it is a way of life.
And seriously, believe me when I say we have barely scratched the surface. I mean, look at all this other stuff. We haven't even talked about crafts made from coconut fiber in Kerala, or bamboo and cane work from Assam, or the famous leather shoes from Rajasthan, or lacquerware from Karnataka. It just goes on and on. It really shows you how these traditions are born from their local environment, using whatever nature provides.
So why is this so important, beyond just the beauty and the culture? Well, here's the bottom line. Look at that word, millions. That's how many people's livelihoods depend on India's handicraft sector. This isn't a hobby. This is the economic engine for countless communities.
So really what we've been looking at today is, it's India's cultural wealth made tangible. You can see it, you can touch it, and these traditions aren't just stuck in the past. They're constantly adapting, evolving, and finding new relevance in our modern world.
And all this leaves us with a really big question, one for all of us to think about. In a world that is just flooded with mass-produced stuff, how do we make sure we carry these living, breathing, incredible traditions forward? How do we value them? How do we support them? That's the real challenge and the real opportunity, isn't it?